Please read the disclaimer. XRP price prediction for 2026. Hello, beautiful people. Shalom, money makers. It's Saturday, and on Saturday, we like to do it a little bit slower and deeper. We're going to go into an analysis here on XRP's potential price predictions. We're going to use some of the best tools out there to try to figure out where the price of XRP could be going in the next year. We'll also start out here with a little bit of news. Currently, XRP is sitting at $1.42, up 1.1% on the day. XRP had bounced off of this 134 zone. Maybe by the time you're watching this video, by the way, the price of XRP could be totally different. Maybe this is going to be an evergreen video and people will be watching this in 6 months or looking back and trying to figure out what XRP did and what XRP could be doing. So again, people sometimes in the comment section, the price is not that anymore. Yes, the price changes. People buy, people sell, and that's why the price goes up and down. That's beautiful, isn't it? Currently, we are in a downtrend. If we zoom out, we can see just a few weeks ago, XRP's price was at $2.40, but just last week, XRP's price was at $1.11. So we'll talk a little bit about this when we get to more to the price prediction. But it was going to be very interesting to see what happens. Now, one of the reasons or part of the reasons why XRP's price is down so much is since the Coinbase pulled out of the Clarity Act, the price of XRP is down. And we have Coinbase CEO tweeting about how, ironically, if crypto rewards ban went into law, it would make us more profitable since we pay out large amounts in rewards to our customers holding USDC. But we don't want that to happen. It's better for customers to get rewards, and it's better for us to keep regulated stablecoins competitive on a global stage. We talked about this last night, specifically on how their earnings call was not great, right? And the fact is that the lower interest, or maybe there's actually higher interest because the prices of the crypto market have gone down so significantly over the past few weeks, but it's not good for them that the prices of crypto are down, because right now the sentiment in crypto is low, even though if you think about it, it should be high as prices go down and quote unquote are cheaper, right? But many people don't look at it that way. People look at it as, oh, this could continue to go down. It's over for the crypto market. And we've heard this multiple times over the years. And we'll see how things play out this week. We saw that the crypto ETFs or the Bitcoin ETFs did turn positive, but it's still weak. Funds have lost 360 overall on the week, and it's not doing great. The ETFs have not been doing great. It seems that a lot of people that were investing through the ETFs didn't, have the same, you could say, juice as long-term crypto investors that have seen ups and downs on the crypto market. So it is what it is. We talked about this, if you're a long-time subscriber on the channel, on my kind of concern that I had that ETF holders and institutional holders that would jump ship as soon as things got a little bleak, just price action wise, because they're not used to it, or they're holding, they might be holding ETFs in retirement accounts and things like that, IRAs. And, when you're in ages where you have big amounts in your IRAs, it's problematic to hold something that just dropped 50%, right? Because you're going into retirement. So I understand that is something that would potentially happen, and we're seeing the results of that just from a price action. But if we just look at XRP ETFs, we're seeing that we're almost at 800 million XRP locked up in just 3 months, mostly coming from Canary, but also from 21 shares and Bitwise. So it continues to grow, and we'll see, maybe down the line we get a XRP ETF from BlackRock as well. We're not seeing that yet. And listen, it's not just the crypto market that has been, doing not so great. Also, the stock market hasn't been doing great over the past few weeks. We've seen at least 115 S&P 500 stocks drop minus 7% or more in a single day over the last trading sessions. And yet the S&P 500 is down just 2% from all-time highs. This is also an issue because the indexes have a big balance from the big tech stocks, right? The Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia, and there's one more that I'm blanking on right now, Google. And so when you have a situation like that, the market might not drop, but specific companies, specific stocks are dropping. Last time so many stocks were hit while the index was still near all-time highs was during the 2000 dot-com bubble. So, there's always going to be things that are good, that are bad, that are ugly. And I try on this channel, if you're new to the channel, I try to bring the best I can do. I give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. If there's some scary news, I'll give you the scary news. If there's some good news, I'll give you good news. And so hopefully you appreciate that and you subscribe to the channel. I just want to remind you that this video is for educational purposes, for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. Very, very important. When we get in just a second to the price prediction, these price predictions, we don't know what's actually going to happen. We're just hypothesizing. We're looking at different scenarios. We're trying to figure out what could potentially happen here. And then we have to figure out what do we want to do regarding our price action. Now, before we get to the price prediction, I have to share this story. I've been covering his journey. I usually don't talk about specific YouTubers that much, but Ben's journey has just been you know it's so I feel so sorry for him, and I'm really sad every time I see his picture pop up. But Kevin O'Leary wins a 2.8 million defamation lawsuit against crypto influencer Ben Armstrong, aka BitBoy. And this, I don't bring this, to put salt on Ben's wounds here. It's more of a reminder that things can change in an instant, right? Ben was on the top of the world. He was the top maybe crypto YouTuber, and he was making lots of money. And then decisions that he made in his personal life derailed everything. And now he's at the bottom of the bottom. A few weeks ago, I saw he was doing like live streams, and he looks really bad. He needs help. And so this is just again a reminder that anything can change on a dime. That's why I tell you I'm very, very optimistic, but I always keep the monkey on my back because in my personal life, where I live, what's happened over the past few years, anything can change in the blink of an eye. That's why we need to be ready for all types of scenarios, all types of things that could awry, that could happen. Okay, I think I give a different perspective than other YouTubers. Some are younger than me, some are older than me, but they don't have the same life experience as me. The older ones maybe have, other life experiences that I have not experienced yet, stuff in the market, but life experience, I think I have a lot to offer. Just what I've been through and what I've seen. Okay, so that's just an anecdote on that. Before we get to the price prediction, I want to introduce our partnership here with BTCC. It's a long partnership already, over a year plus that we've been partnered with them, and now they're offering a 30% deposit bonus. So once you sign up using my link, and it's real easy, you go down here, you go to my website, yes, then you scroll down here, you click BTCC, and you can sign up using my link. Now, you might say, Avi, well, I'm already signed up to BTCC, or I'm already signed up to a different exchange here. Listen, we have this 30% deposit bonus. I'm not telling you, to sign up again. But you always want to have different exchanges, and you can take advantage of this 30% deposit bonus. I will get a commission, so thank you for that. Also, please trade responsibly, right? We've seen leverage can be very, very profitable, but it can also be very risky. So make sure you understand the risks and rewards before you jump into it. They do have a demo account, so you can start out with that. But you get the 30% deposit bonus. So just, take advantage of this 30% deposit bonus. It's not going to last for long. Again, if you have $1 million account, $300,000 bonus there. So for your trading. So, it's a big bonus there. So check it out in the description down below. And again, I will get a commission. So now let's move to the price prediction. Before that, I just want to get a sip of coffee. So for the price prediction here, I decided to actually ask three different AIs to help us out a little bit, right? Because we can look at the graph and we can try to figure out, okay, if we bounce off here, this is going to happen. We can also look back in the past and try to figure out and do this all by ourselves. But we have today AI. Why not use it, right? The revolution is coming. If you're not, if you're not vibe coding, if you're not at least watching a video a day about AI, you're going to fall behind. Okay. So this is one of my goals. It's been actually problematic because now my timeline is Twitter is filled with AI and crypto. So it's making my life a little bit harder just to find, news and content. I think I need to open maybe a second Twitter account just for crypto. That's also a tip. If you want, specific social media, sometimes you like something and then it bombards you with that specific topic. So if you want something, just make it a clean account. Sometimes that's good. But so I asked Grok here. I started out with Grok. And I said, is this in the current climate with, since XRP and the whole crypto market has declined since October 10th, and of course, since the beginning of the year, I want you to act as an expert and look at expert opinions and make your opinion on what could potentially happen here for XRP in 2026. So it says here the crypto market, including XRP, has indeed experienced a significant downturn since October 10th, with Bitcoin plummeting over 50%, and the broader crypto sell-off erased roughly 2 trillion in market cap. Um, this has been because of a few factors: massive leverage position liquidation, what happened on October 10th, profit taking after a speculative rally, meme coin fatigue from celebrity backed tokens like Trump and Melania that have gone down significantly, and microeconomic pressures such as US tariff threats on China, volatility in tech stocks and precious metals, and expectations of tighter Federal Reserve policy under nominee Kevin Warsh. We kind of forget about that, but when he was announced, the market really didn't like it because he potentially will be reducing interest rates, but he's not a big believer in quantitative easing, right? And so that is, it's kind of been um, swept under the rug a little bit, but that's very important as well for the price action. Who is the Fed and what is he potentially going to do? XRP itself has followed suit, trading around $1.40, currently down 60% from its July high at $3.65. Despite this, several positive developments have bolstered the crypto ecosystem since late 2025, providing foundation for potential recovery. Key highlights include regulatory process. The SEC dropped its 4-year lawsuit against Ripple in March of 2025, resolving a major overhang and paving the way for clear U.S. crypto rules. The Clarity Act is advancing in Congress, and this is, going to be very, very important. We'll see how it plays out. Aiming to reform market structure while the CFTC approved regulated spot crypto trading on U.S. exchanges. Globally, the UK Treasury partnered with HSBC for blockchain-based sovereign debt, and banks like BNP, Bank of America, and Goldman Sachs explored G7 peg stablecoins. Institutional adoptions and ETF spot XRP ETFs have been sold over 1.3 billion in cumulative inflows by early of 2026, with firms like BlackRock and 21 shares. I don't know about BlackRock. See, this is why it's important to go multiple AIs. Sometimes they, make mistakes. They read articles or they read something and it's incorrect, right? So that's very important that we look at multiple outlets. Ripple specific wins. Ripple RLUSD stablecoin gained traction with integrations like Binance and partnerships with banks like Aviva and Zan that we talked about this week. So let's go to the price action. What does it think here? It used to be a little bit better. Well, maybe I needed to do a different, they also have fast, expert, Grok, right? Expert opinions on crypto broadly and XRP specifically lean bullish for 2026, emphasizing recovery from the dip via adoption and policy tailwinds. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse predicted all-time highs for the overall market in 2026, citing regulatory momentum like the Clarity Act. Analysts like Standard Chartered forecast XRP at $8 by year end. Driven by ETF flows and settlements, AI models and firms like 21 Shares see 30% bull case for a 2.69 with base case around 245. Others, Changely 326, and so on. Based on this, his price prediction here, Grok, for the end of 2026 is $3.5 to $5 base case, assuming moderate recovery from the dip via ETF inflows. RLUSD growth and partial carry ag passage boosting utility. This represents 150 to 250% upside from current levels, sustained by historical post-dip rebounds, example XRP's 350% surge in November of 2025 after the SEC news, and correlation with Bitcoin bull case 6 to 8 if tokenization explodes, and BRICS tests XRP for settlements, bear case $1.50 to $2.50 if macro worsens, Fed tightening long term, $10 is possible for 2030, potentially. This is not crazy price predictions, right? It's pretty solid, right? I wouldn't say that it's looking here at too bullish of a movement or too bearish of a movement, like, back to 50 cents or something like that, for XRP. When XRP hit $1, almost $1, it seemed like the sky was falling, and then we recovered after that, right? And if we're looking now, we could potentially be close to a crossover here on the 1348 EMA, and a recovery. So it's not too wild of a prediction. Let's see what ChatGPT thought. So the current situation, why crypto fell despite good news, right? And this is important, and we talk about this a lot, and price action and what fuels the price action. Since October 2025 highs, crypto entered a classic liquidity-driven correction. Bitcoin dropped 50% from its peak. Analysts warn crypto winters historically last around 200 days. Interest rates, inflation data, and risk asset rotations are dominating price more than fundamentals. Market priced in perfection, the macro reality hits the matter because XRP story lags during fear phases but moves aggressively when liquidity returns. Fundamentally, why actually improve for XRP? Despite price weakness, major development happened. Institutional adoption accelerating. Asset manager Aviva partnered with Ripple to tokenize investment funds. On the XRP ledger, tokenization is becoming a $1 trillion narrative. Regulatory clarity improving. US crypto framework discusses a pro-crypto policy momentum continue. Treasury plus capital flows into XRP ecosystem. Ripple-backed firm raising large capital pools focus on XRP accumulation. This is structurally bullish, but markets move in cycles, not logic. What can we expect for 2026? Here's the real range from Analyst, not Twitter, hopium. Right. So the bullish institutional case is $8, the Standard Chartered research. Some technical analysis also see potentially 7 between mid 2026 and towards the end. Now I want to stop for a second. If XRP does hit $8, right? That's a significant movement for XRP. Of course, it would be all-time high and all that. But would you be happy with XRP at $8? At the end of the year, right? Let's just say, or somewhere around the year. That would be about a 400% movement. Now's the time to answer in the comment section if you're still here. 18 minutes in. No, but why do I ask this question? Because a lot of people, and there's been a lot of this on social media, have been flocking to the school of triple digits and all that for XRP by the end of the year, right? All those videos that we saw by a specific YouTuber, and it didn't play out. And I was, beating the drum and saying, hey, this is not good. It's not going to happen. We shouldn't be, making these, we shouldn't be looking at these things and it's good to fantasize, right? But we also have to be realistic, okay? $8 by the end of the year, yeah, that could happen. But the question is, would you be satisfied? Would it would it make you feel confident in the potential of the price action in XRP? I'm asking this question for a reason, okay? And so I want the answers in the comment section, okay? Don't be shy to write a comment. I know some of you are shy to write comments. Base case, most analysts cluster here. Multiple researchers, platforms, and AI forecasts between 2 to 4. Probability models have base target at 245 and bull probability at 269. Short-term analyst projection also around 240 to 260, right? So that would basically bring us back to somewhere where we were at the beginning of last year or the end of 2025. It will be very interesting to see if that happens. Does the XRP army, lose confidence, lose interest? Because so far we've seen about a decline of 50% in viewership over the past few months. It's meaning that people have lost interest, or the YouTube algorithm has changed in some way. I don't know, but it's more likely that it's people just lost interest because the price is declined, and people have a tendency to have hope for about 6 months after a big run, and then they start losing hope if there's not another run up, right? That's just what I've seen in my YouTube journey, right? Bear case often ignored on YouTube. Technical analysis warning: XRP still below major moving averages, bear structure. If macro weakness continues, downside zones around 125 or even lower remain possible. We've talked about the possibility, and Benjamin Cohen is a big believer in this, that midterm years are always weak for the crypto market, and there could be some, because it's always post the year we're supposed to be crescendoing, right? They're supposed to see the banana zone, but we didn't see the banana zone, and that's what's so confusing. Benjamin's like, hey, post banana zone years or midterm election years are always bad for the crypto market. But historically, the year before has always been amazing, and this year before was not amazing. So why should this year be the same as those other years? And that's why it's so confusing, and that's why many people are on the fence on the crypto market. Of course, all the sell-offs and everything that's happened. So again, I give you the good, the bad, and the ugly here. What could ChatGPT's cycle-based interpretation? Here's where experience with crypto cycle matters. XRP behaves differently than Bitcoin. Long accumulation, late cycle expansion, moves after regulatory clarity and liquidity return. Historically, XRP pumps near late bull phase, not early recovery. We'll see. And so the conservative scenario with a 40% probability is 150 to 250. Base scenario most likely is 3 to 5, which I would actually, if it's personally me, I would be happy with 3 to 5 here just by the end of the year after everything we've experienced over the last 6 months since October. If XRP finishes 2026 at $5, I would be very happy, right? That's my opinion. To the question before, if XRP hits $8, I would be super happy, right? Because I know I've been in the markets for a long time. I'm not looking for, the Lambo, to buy the Lambo tomorrow. That's not what I'm looking for. Maybe I'll buy, my boys are getting big. I'll upgrade my Kia Niro to a Kia Sportage. Maybe. By the way, cars here are super expensive. There's like 100% tax on cars. So, any car you think in the US maybe is 40,000, here it's 80,000. So yeah, so it's a Kia Niro is considered a very good car here. So this and the hard truth, and this is what I really wanted to get to. Most XRP holders miss. Good news doesn't mean immediate price, right? A lot of times I'll have a title and it will say XRP, good news. This is good news, and people will be in the comment section say, "Well, Avi, you said good news, but the price action is actually going down. The price of XRP is going down." Right now, we're in what markets call fundamental accumulation phase. Price usually moves after institution finishing positioning, right? Many times the price action happens because of fear and FOMO and algos and institutions, and not really what's happening with the actual asset. We also have to remember that XRP is market cap of 87 billion. So if news comes out and it's a news that is worth 10 billion potentially for XRP, then XRP could move up 10%, right, on that news. If it's news that the market doesn't really know how much it's going to be worth for XRP, in the long run, then it might not really move XRP. You might not see, a big, movement to the upside, or something similar like we saw to remember uni this week. Again, you might be from the future, but uni had this big run up this week and then it sold off, right? And that kind of thing had this big candle and then sold off, right? That kind of news, it's very hard to move XRP like that, 50-40% in a couple of minutes, just because of the huge market cap that it's already at. Okay, so it's in a totally different situation than others. I also asked Gemini here. So let's see what Gemini thinks about what could potentially happen. Okay. And actually, Gemini might be the best of all, just from a standpoint of how it analyzes stuff and tells us stuff. I like Gemini. Um, so let's see here. Of course, it's emphasizing here the October 10th crash because it was so important. Roughly 19 billion liquidated in a single day, historic wake up call that shifted the focus from hype to survival and utility. Okay. So to understand where XRP is going, we have to look at why it fell. The October 10th crash wasn't just a dip, it was a systematic failure caused by macro shook. President Trump announcement of that 100% tariffs on Chinese imports acted as the catalyst, causing global risk-off rotation where investors fled volatile assets like crypto. And of course, the leverage cascade. The crash was amplified by the leverage loop, including involving USDE collateral. When Bitcoin dropped, it triggered a chain reaction of liquidation that market hadn't seen since the FTX collapse. The current sentiment, as February 2026, we are in a capitulation phase while Bitcoin is stabilized near 66,000. Altcoins like XRP are fighting to regain their 2025 momentum. The good news, catalyst for XRP. Despite the drop, the structural foundation for XRP has never been stronger. And this is what I've been saying over the past few days. If you've been subscribed to the channel, I look at the current price action, I look at the current situation, and I look at the structural foundation of XRP, and I say, wow, we're in a much better situation than we were a year ago when XRP was running up or the crypto market was running up. So I don't really, the price action right now doesn't scare me or doesn't concern me. Okay. Regulatory victory. The multi-year SEC battle finished. For the first time, XRP operates with total legal clarity in the US. ETF inflows, several spot ETF launches in late 2025. While October crash slowed their growth, they have recently surpassed 1 billion in total inflows, signaling that smart money is still buying the dip. And stablecoin utility, Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin is now fully integrated into XRP Ledger, driving actual transaction volume rather than just speculative trading. Expert price prediction for 2026. Analysts are currently divided between utility bulls and macro bears. Here is the consensus. So we have institutional, standard, charter. The AI keeps going to that prediction, which is very, very bullish, around 5 to 850. Then we have Changeley and Zimpex that are saying 250 to 350, and NASDAQ and Capital.com are saying $1 to $1.80, right? And so as of 2026, February 26, XRP is at that range. Most experts agree for XRP to break out, XRP must decisively break hold above the 235 resistance level. If it fails to do so, it could stay range bound near $1 for much of the year. And again, what are you going to do? What is your plan if XRP does go to those levels? What are you going to do if XRP drops to $1 or under $1? You have to have a plan. You have to know what is potentially going to happen and what are the scenarios and what is your plan for those scenarios. Okay, it's very, very important to remember that the market shifts and the market is dynamic. And if you're not planning for every single type of scenario, medium term, long term, short term, it's very, very hard. Again, day trading is a tricky business, but medium term to long term, you have to have a plan in place. What are you doing? What is your plan? What is your monthly plan? What is your weekly plan? What are you doing? How are you distributing your assets? Where are you looking for? What are you looking for? And that's very, very important. Okay. The verdict. This is the Gemini's verdict here for the XRP price prediction. The golden era of XRP isn't about court cases anymore. It's about adoption. So for the longest time, XRP had that black cloud, above it, and we were making videos in 2024 talking about, before Trump won the election, the appeal, the SEC put in the appeal, and XRP was feeling so bleak at that time. And we were talking about that black cloud and how that black cloud could potentially be removed and it would be a weight off of XRP's shoulders. And once that, Trump won the election, it took a little bit of a while. The price action didn't start going bananas for XRP right away. It took a little bit for people to understand that Gary Gensler's gone, right? And that there's going to be a new day, and we're going to see a new SEC, and the court case most likely will be removed, right? And XRP price just went banana after that. It's still the same situation, right? But now we're in a situation where people are waiting to see, okay, what's the next thing? What's the next thing, right? That's in the markets, you always want to know the next thing, okay? If Ripple can prove that banks are actually using the ledger for cross-border settlement at scale and not just converting it instantly, the supply squeeze could push XRP towards the 350 mark by the end of 2026. However, if Trump's tariffs continue to spook global markets, crypto may remain a sunset industry for the short term. Okay. And so we'll potentially see what XRP is going to do here in the next coming weeks, the next coming months. If we look at, for example, the probabilities of interest rates reducing, it seems right now that only in June we could potentially see more interest rates getting reduced. And that also is a factor, as we look at the crypto market. I have to look back and analyze this. But when we had those run-ups, where was the interest rates? You know what? I can ask AI right now. Okay, so I found it really fast, and my kids are getting restless. You'll probably hear them in the background. Historically, in 2017, interest rates were low, right? And in 2020, 2021, they were really low, right? So right now, they are high. And you could say 2024, we had the run up, but it wasn't really a banana zone. So when we look at this, and this is very interesting, 2017 and 2021, when we had those big run-ups, interest rates were super low. I wouldn't call 2024 as a run-up, right? So that could have been one of the problems why crypto has not gotten its banana zone. It could be because the interest rates are still high. And the fact is, when interest rates are high, people are less likely to take out significant amounts of money to put in high-risk assets, aka crypto. In 2017, in 2020, and 2021, that was the current situation. So we'll see. Hopefully, interest rates will come down, and maybe it will take a little bit of time until that happens. I just want to remind you that this video was for entertainment, for educational purposes only. I don't know what the price of XRP is actually going to be in the future. I'm not a prophet, but it's important to understand that there's a lot of factors that come into where the price of XRP is and where the price of XRP is going. Don't forget to smash the like button. Check out the links in the description down below. If you're interested, again, in BTCC, you can do so through my website. And don't forget to smash the like button. That's the easiest thing you can do to support the channel. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.